Storm Tracker rates Weather University on WRIC Now is sponsored by Blank & Marcus, attorneys of Storm Tracker rates Weather University on WRIC Now is sponsored by Blank & Marcus, attorneys of Storm Tracker rates Weather University on
And hello, everyone. It is time for Weather University. As always, you see some people in the background here. So let me introduce, of course, first of all, Jacqueline Waters joining me, my friend and colleague. We're going to talk about all good things weather as we round out August, go into September. How are you, Jacqueline?
I'm doing well. How are you? I haven't seen you in like a month.
I know.
It's good to be back.
July 31st, the last time we got to work together. So
I actually missed you, and I'll say that on air.
Oh, wow. That's very nice of you. I missed you, too. Hey, Jacqueline, before we get going here, we have a special group of people in the studio with us. These are the 9th through 12th graders from Dominion Technical Center. They've been here today kind of getting a little tour of the studio. They're all excited. They're, going to be asking some questions. You guys can ask questions live, by the way. If you have questions, raise your hand. Jacqueline will see this part of the room. I'll see that part of the room, and we'll get your questions about weather only, or maybe about news and how we're doing things. And, of course, our friends out on the world of Facebook and YouTube can ask questions, and we'll be happy to answer them as well. All right, in the meantime, Jacqueline, let's start off this morning talking about August, because we started off the month. If you remember, it was blazing hot and humid, and then all of a sudden, Debbie came in, and things changed shortly after that.
Things did change, and you were in Alaska, but,
yeah.
I mean, we were pretty nice. Even last week, we were really nice, and it's hard to believe that it's the last full week of August.
Yep.
So crazy to think about, but those are our normals for the time for August. And we've been pretty seasonable all month long. It hasn't been too bad. And we have gotten a lot of rain.
We have gotten a lot of rain. So we look at this graphic here, which you put together. This is kind of the calendar. And anything in the tan is above normal temperatures. And then there's a lot of blue in the last weekend. Everybody loved that kind of nature's air conditioning last week.
Yes. And it was not even that it was cooler. It also, the humidity was not around. It felt like fall. It was so nice. But yeah, only 4 above average days. That's that tan orange color. Most were seasonable or below average.
And this week now with the average high, I don't know if people saw it there. Let's go back to it. 86 now is the average as we go into the last week of August. And if we look at that calendar once again, we're going to fill it out there. I think we're going to see a lot of tan here. We're going to be running above normal.
I agree. I'm not looking forward to it. I know you are, but...
I mean, I love my heat and humidity, but I did really enjoy the break last week. I got to be honest. And last week, while we had some overnight lows in the mid-50s, there were some places like Louisa and Buckingham County that were sitting in the upper 40s.
I know. Hard to believe. I mean, I was at the beach. It was cold. I was in layers. I was freezing. And, I mean, it was just so nice. We started off the month. These are those morning lows, overnight lows. We started off the month, though, with above average lows. Yeah. But, yeah, it was so nice.
And a lot of times that has to do with the mugginess. When we're in August, it stays super muggy, and that keeps us rather warm. Of course, rainfall, when Debbie came through, I mean, there was varying amounts of rain. Some places like Richmond, about 2.5 areas to the west, so much more.
Yes, and I mean, we usually get a lot of rain around the hurricane season, and we got a lot of rain this month. We're kind of right around where we should be for this time of month. But for the year, we're still way above where we should be.
Which is great.
So it is good.
Even though before Debbie, and a little bit before that, we had a pretty significant drought over central Virginia, that has gone away.
Yes.
But if we continue to stay dry, we may see the dryness and maybe a slight drought build back in. Although I would say that with the risk of storms coming up this week as the heat and humidity builds, maybe that'll temper things back just a bit. All right, so rainfall, we're ahead. Where are we going is the question.
We're going into September.
Yeah.
27 days until fall. I cannot wait.
You're counting down.
So excited. But, yeah, we are going into September, and things will get cooler. So, I mean, we're getting into the end of the year. Hard to believe that. And September 1st, first day of meteorological, I can never say that word right. Meteorological fall.
Do you guys all know what meteorological fall is, by the way? Meteorological fall is a 3-month series. It's September, October, and November. Then we have meteorological winter, which is December, January, February. So it really doesn't coincide with like a calendar, like you say, hey, the first day of fall is like this year, it's September 22nd. It actually is just the 3 months around it. And we have meteorological spring and meteorological summer, which is June, July, August. So that's what we kind of define as the calendar season there. So anybody have any questions while we're doing this? Yes, what's your question?
I know the weather changes, but exactly how far out can you guys predict the weather?
So So it's a great question. So the question was, if you didn't hear it, was I know the weather changes, but how far out can you guys predict it? So some of our weather models that we look at will actually go out 20 days to 26 days. They go out quite a bit. But for real accuracy, you're kind of staying in that 3 to 5 day range. So if you ask me today, what's it going to be like Friday? I'm going to be fairly accurate. Jacqueline will be fairly accurate, giving you a really good forecast and being within a couple of degrees. If you ask me, I have a wedding 2 Saturdays from now, what's it going to be? That's too far out for us to give you a really good example of what's going on. So, yeah, that's a good question there. I like that question. Any other questions? No? All right. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
So basically, when it's like a tornado,
Mm-hmm.
why does it like spin in circles? What's it like?
Yeah, I got you. So that's a really tough question. So
That is a tough question.
So Jacqueline, so our viewers can hear that. So when there's a tornado,
Yes.
why does it spin in circles? And then what's the speeds? I'm going to let you jump on this
thank
one.
you.
Yeah.
You said it's such a tough question. You go ahead. Okay, I'll try to answer it the best I can. Basically, you need certain ingredients for really anything in the weather. So those are the things we look for. But what gets it to spin is really wind shear,
Right.
which is basically the difference in wind speed, also wind direction with height. And there's a lot of unknowns with exactly how tornadoes are formed. That's why they're so fascinating to me, especially. I actually have a tornado tattoo on the back of my ear. Love tornadoes, but there's still just like a lot of unknown with how they form. And researchers are still studying that. So do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's really well done. It's sheer. It's how things change as we go up in height. And
Updraft, too.
The faster it's so in all thunderstorms, we have winds that go up and down. Upwinds, downwinds, updraft, downdraft. That's what they're called technically. And then high in the sky, there's wind shear. So an updraft may go up and start to turn, and that downwind or downdraft may also start to turn. And when that turning takes over, we get rotation. Yes, go ahead.
I guess what I was trying to ask is like the speed of the tornado is like because of why the density.
You're asking about the speed of tornadoes?
Yes.
Yeah. So that happens based on the wind shear up top, how quick it can come down. And so our wind speeds for tornadoes, like an EF0, which is the lowest one, is about 70 miles per hour. And then our strongest one is an EF5, which is upwards of 200 miles per hour. And we have different grading systems based on the damage that they do. So if a tornado comes to your home, let's say, and it just knocks down a small pine tree, that's considered a weak tree. Nothing else happens. It's probably rated at about 70 miles per hour. If a tornado comes and hits your school and the brick building is destroyed, that's going to be a very strong tornado to destroy brick, and that would then be an EF5 tornado or a high-end EF4. So that's what we're looking at there, yes. Yeah. So we base tornadoes' strength based on what they destroy. That's a great question. It's a very technical question. Good job. I love that. Any other question? Yes, in the corner.
So you remember the one that I said I was in Chester?
Yes.
What was that one?
So Chester during Debbie, I think anything that formed during Debbie, I know the Caroline was confirmed at an EF0, right?
Yes, EF0. There was no other confirmed from the National Weather Service that I am aware of.
Okay.
Unless something came out when I was on vacation, but it was just probably strong straight line winds. Yeah, I didn't see any other confirmed tornadoes.
But strong straight line winds could still be 60, 70 miles per hour and do a tremendous amount of damage.
Yeah, because I heard the beep on the radio.
Yeah. The beep comes across anytime there's a tornado warning. So when you guys are listening to the radio, if you guys are driving in your car, or maybe your phone goes off, right? Those go off when there's a tornado warning in the area that you are in. That's really important. It's the same thing like on the bottom of this TV, we have that crawl that goes across to talk about tornado warnings and severe weather warnings. And when there's a tornado warning, Jackie and I and John Bernier or Tyler Hall, we're going to jump right on the air. We're going to be there, and we're going to walk you through every part of that storm. Somebody earlier asked, what are the tools we use? I can't remember who it was. And I said radar is the number one thing, and we will dissect that radar as much as possible on TV and really explain what's going on. So,
Good question.
questions?
He had a question.
Yes.
Too.
With the new movie release, Twisters,
Such a good movie.
disrupting tornadoes and things of that nature?
Do we have the technology to disrupt tornadoes? Now, Jacqueline and I differ very greatly on this movie,
Yes.
Twisters. So I'll
We
let Jacqueline
debated.
answer this one.
So I think it's a great movie. Did you see it? I love that movie. No. No, but there is still. So no. The short answer, no. You can't shoot up fireworks. Hopefully, I'm not ruining the movie for anyone. And disrupt a tornado. But there are a lot of different places of study that researchers and meteorologists, scientists are studying to see how they could better forecast it, or they could play with different things. Like there was one part in the movie they used drones, and that actually comes out of a real research study in, I believe it's Colorado. So a lot of it was real. Matt and I did have a whole podcast episode on it, and ultimately no, but still a great movie.
But was it tornado real?
In the movie, no. Those are all fake tornadoes in
Yes.
the movie. Yeah.
Okay, God lost it. It's
So
not
there's
like
no way
that.
to throw the actual balance of it off.
Not right now, no. I mean, truthfully, we would love for that to be the case because there are so many tornadoes every year that disrupt lives, disrupt families. We would love to ruin businesses. We'd love to be able to do that, but right now that's not the case. Yes, in the corner over there.
What's the most common weather that we ever have in the world?
Just most common weather. We get a lot of days of sunshine. I
Yeah.
mean, that's we get rain. We get a little bit of rain, but sunshine is our number one thing. We don't get as much snow. If you ask people, out and about, where's all the snow we used to get? I remember growing up. Weather patterns have changed recently. We just don't get the snow that we used to get. So. Sunshine, rain. We do get a number of days of severe weather. There are about a dozen or so days when we get true severe weather, tornadoes and storms and things like that. Yes?
Do you think we're going to get snow this year?
I have canceled snow
No.
until January 2030.
I'm bringing it
Ryan-
back.
She's trying to bring it back. We'll probably get some snow this year, to be honest with you. How much? That's going to be up for question. We have to see what weather patterns we're going into. Right now, we are in an El Nino going La Nina, or am I
Nina.
backward?
No, you're right.
Okay.
La Nina should be starting like this month or next
Right.
month.
So that
It's been like a couple years since we had snow.
correct. Yeah, it's been a long time. All right, let us continue on here. I love your questions. Thank you so much. I mean, this is great stuff. Studio audience, we got to do this more
I
often.
know. I
All
love
right.
it.
So September by the number, we're going to start off September 1st, 85 degrees for our high, and then for the end of the month, 76. This is the weather Jacqueline wants. What we had
Yes.
last week.
I mean, don't you guys like fall weather? Whose favorite month is fall? Okay, thank you. Matt just likes the heat and humidity. I love the fall, so yes, I'm excited about it.
All right. I'm outdone here. So Jacqueline and I did a little research today, and we said, Labor Day's coming up, and it's the unofficial end of summer. So what has been some of the hottest Labor Days? And I was shocked by the hottest, 102 degrees back in 1954.
That's when you were in senior year high school?
Senior year of high school, yeah.
Do you remember it?
I love Jacqueline so much. And then a number of days of 95 or better there.
Yes.
So there's been some super hot Labor Days. Happy to say, so that Jacqueline doesn't get all mad, this Labor Day weekend is not looking super hot. Upper 80s, maybe near 90, a couple of thunderstorms on Saturday. Labor Day Monday, we may drop the humidity again and be looking at temperatures in the mid-80s. All right, we go to the tropics. Jacqueline, why don't you take care of this here?
So basically, we're getting into the peak of hurricane season in the Atlantic, and we're super quiet right now. There's absolutely nothing we are watching, which is certainly good news. We don't want to see things pop up and develop. But right now, the Atlantic is very quiet, and hopefully things stay that way, but we are going into the peak.
Not so
No.
quiet in the Pacific, though.
No, not quiet at all. I don't remember the last time I've seen this many tropical systems at once in the Pacific. But we have Hone, did I say that right?
Yep.
Which is now a tropical storm. And also, fun fact, it means sweet and soft in Hawaiian.
Okay.
And
It wasn't so sweet and soft,
no,
too.
it was
Hawaii,
not
though.
so sweet and soft. The surfers might think it was sweet for the swells, but yeah, not so sweet and soft. And it is continuing to move out. We have Hurricane Gilma, still a hurricane right now, and then now Tropical Storm Hector. So a lot going on in the Pacific, and Hawaii will have to keep their eyes on it.
For sure. And then again, in the Atlantic, we talk about this. We are about to enter the peak time of our tropical timeline. That means this is the time when you look at the grand scheme of things, about 150 years of weather, we see our most named storms. We see our highest potential for hurricanes. The ocean waters are the warmest. The wind shear is usually relaxed the most. So we're going to have to watch as we just said the next 7 days, we're not going to see much, but come the middle of September, we've got to keep our eyes open. If things start to pop, they could pop really, really quickly here. Still looking at a above average tropical season. So yeah, we have a lot. Yes, go ahead. Let me put you up here. There we go. Go ahead. What's your question?
Like, why do y'all name, like, why do y'all name, like, the different, like, tornadoes and stuff? Like, what do y'all, like, go based off?
Okay, great question. So we don't name tornadoes. Question was, why do we name tornadoes and stuff? We don't name tornadoes. There are too many. There are thousands that happen every year. But we name hurricanes. We name tropical systems. The name is not picked by Jacqueline or myself. It's picked by the National Hurricane Center. Jacqueline, you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so basically is it 6 or 7 years?
7.
Every 7 years, there's a new list, and we just go through that, and it goes through the alphabet. Some of the not so common letters are not in it, but any really devastating storm, they retire out of the list, and they alternate from male and female.
To make it easier for people in the viewing audience, people who watch weather, to be able to follow them. Because otherwise, we'd have to use the lat and longitude position, the latitude and longitude, and that would get very confusing.
And before they do form into a tropical storm, they're called like Invest, and they're given a number, which gets even really confusing. It's like Invest 97L or something.
Right.
So it's just easier to track that way, and it's easier for the viewers and people watching to also to remember it and to understand.
Yeah. Good question. Good question. All right, before we wrap it up here, Jacqueline, I'll bring up the 8-day forecast. And really, after, let me just pop this
Are there
up
any
here.
questions from people online?
There are none.
Oh, okay.
There are none. It's sad, but that's okay. We had great questions in here today. All right, chance of storms maybe this afternoon, a few pop-up storms. Otherwise, hot, humid weather building, 96 on Wednesday. Heat index possibly approaching 105. And then, Jacqueline, as we said, if you don't like the heat, just wait because things may change by next Monday once again.
Yes, and only 27 days until fall, so we're getting closer.
Oh, 27 days
Can't
till
wait.
fall. All right. Anyway, for our studio audience here, give yourself a round of applause. You guys are fantastic. Thank you so much. And for Jacqueline and myself, we wish you all the best, and we will be back next Monday with another Weather University. Have a great day, everyone.